Off top, Gene Connolly is the only athlete to win a World Series and an NBA championship. Music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
All right, welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. I'm nervous about introducing Charlie today. I don't know what's gotten in. I do know what's gotten into him. A lack of sleep, and you've been out of your mind all day today, being weird, saying silly stuff. So hopefully you'll be able to pull it together for the duration of the show.
I don't know who Gene Connolly is, but you think of the baseball basketball crossovers. You're thinking Danny Ainge, Dave Winfield. I don't know if there are any more off the top of my head who played both professionally. I'm sure Jim Thorpe did.
Gene Connolly was in the 50s, so things a little bit different. But he won 3 championships with the Celtics and 1 with the Milwaukee Braves, I believe.
So okay, we're gonna talk some football. I mean, for the audience, I don't know what you heard before this. Most likely, all of our banter was cut out of the show. So. We're going to do some quick hitters first, and then we'll touch on some Travis Hunter. It felt like we had a faucet that was dripping all summer. We got no football news. And now training camp has started, and we've been so deprived that the spigot is just turned on. It's just dumping videos on our head and dumping news on our head of stuff. And the first one is we talked about a little bit, but that is Micah Parsons. Mm-hmm. And the update on this story is Micah is apparently disgusted by the offer. That's the actual the quote of it, and that they're further away than they were when they started. And we know the history of this with Jerry Jones. He just signed you to the biggest deal at your position in history before the season starts.
Yeah, he just makes you earn it. He makes you sweat it out before he's willing to pay you.
He makes you earn it by getting through training camp and just being miserable and resenting the organization.
Earn it was the wrong terminology because it's already been earned. He just makes you sweat it out. But this one seems a little bit different because it seems like Micah's actually offended. Yeah,
and so to me, is this a signal like the way, or is this of something, a bigger issue, or is it actually noise? Because this is someone he's the best Cowboys player in a long time. Yeah. Truly, and the most valuable. He's 26 years old, and he's playing this premium position. It's unprecedented to sort of force your way out of a situation or plan the tag for a couple of years, particularly when you're not a quarterback. So signal or noise on this? This is a big deal, or this is something that'll get fixed?
And every time I try to say it's just noise, someone else pipes in, and it's someone reputable. This morning, Adam Schefter was the one who was piping in saying that this is actually something, and it's actually a real riff. What I don't understand about it, so I guess if you're going to make me play the game, I'm going to have to admit that it's noise, but admit that it's signal, because it still feels like, it's just so unfathomable for me. And it's also just such an obvious thing. Is I understand some situations where you do have to negotiate. I get it. There are some situations where both sides have a good point, and there's a reason to negotiate. Some of the hold-ins that are going on now, while I may not fall on the side of management, I do understand the position that they're taking. This one I don't understand, because it doesn't benefit anybody for anyone to not come to an agreement. It hurts them as far as their cap's concerned. It hurts them as far as pissing off their player. And it's not much of a negotiation with players like this. It's so rare that you have a player like this. And when you have them, you pay them $1 more, or $100,000 more, $300,000 more, just a marginal amount more over what the person at their position is getting paid. It's really not that hard or that confusing. It's not, Jerry Jones thinks he's bartering for some reason. And we always kind of chalk it up to him trying to be an entertainer and trying to draw more attention, which I guess is all fine and good until whoever's on the other side don't feel like playing your game.
And by the way, you talk about this one being easy. I think you could make a case that he's worth more than just $1 more than TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. Not that he's a considerably better player, but he's absolutely on their tier, which in both those guys' cases is the tier that means they're going to the Hall of Fame at the second most valuable position in football. But Micah Parsons is 26. Those guys are in their 30s, and those guys just got those deals. I know Parsons has had slightly more injuries than someone like Myles Garrett already in his career, has missed a little bit more time. But this is a no-brainer. This is a rare player that's incredibly important to your team. And to me, this feels where it feels like it's punitive because he's mismanaged other contract situations, where the issue is like they've overpaid people at other positions at other times and have mismanaged the cap in that way, and that's now affecting Micah Parsons. That's just to me, you know where it's a signal? It's a signal of that's a bad way to do business. It's a bad way to be a general manager.
And this is a situation where you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like it doesn't feel like this helps anybody. Like even if it's a reaction to having poorly negotiated deals in the past, or it's a reaction to Micah Parsons having been injured and missed some time, like how does this benefit you in any way? And you're not gaining leverage. You're losing leverage. The further along it goes, the more people that sign, the more silly that you look. It's so rare that you find that fans side so obviously with the player and loudly do so. Like in Dallas, they're chanting to pay Micah. Like, how ridiculous do you have to have been your negotiation? Because generally, fans want to get guys as cheap as possible so they can build out their roster. They're just like, no, give him the money. He's as good as it gets. And he's a type of player that would negatively impact your season. It feels like if you are sending a message, you're trying to send a message as a leader of the team that you own, that you want to win a championship. Nickel and diming and potentially not having the best player on your defense just seems like a really bad strategy.
Let's also be clear. He's their best player since Emmitt Smith. He is the best player they've had in 30 years. Like that's the thing about this. And like, it's not like, and that's not to take away from Tyron Smith, who had an incredible career, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, guys like that. The peak of Ezekiel Elliott was awesome. Micah Parsons' premium position has been a Hall of Fame caliber guy since his first snap in the NFL. Like these are the guys you pay.
You remember when Micah, you may not remember this, it just stands out in my memory. When he first got in the league, he was a rookie and they were like mixing time with him. That's not, mixing time as far as on ball and off ball. Yeah. And they moved him out. The team that they were playing, I forget what team it was. Might have been the Jets or somebody like that. For some reason, I'm thinking Green. They got him isolated in the slot on a running back and ran a wheel route. And Micah ran step for step with him and broke it up in the end zone like a 270-pound cornerback. It was insane.
I remember that. And I also, that was one of the plays, too, where then every announcer was like, you remember, he played off ball at Penn State until his last year there. And it's like, that was a mistake, buddy. let him get the quarterback. I was like, that's not a feature. That's a bug of bad coaching. Yeah. Next one. We have a bunch of quarterbacks to roll through. Look, pat ourselves on the back. We didn't just open with just quarterbacks, although we did open with Cowboys. So I guess I'll take the pat back. Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. The reports are he's played very well at training camp. The clips, he looks very comfortable. I mean, they're playing shorts and t-shirts. They don't even have top pads on yet. So it's like it's hard to totally tell from these clips. But the bigger thing was earlier this week, Jimmy Haslam made a point to say that it wasn't his pick to take Shedeur Sanders. It was Andrew Berry's decision, his GM. And that is some preemptive deflection that is really interesting because they have 4 quarterbacks on that roster, and Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and Shedeur Sanders. And I seriously doubt all of them are going to be carried by week 1. Is that a signal of anything or just noise from someone who is also, he's drafted a quarterback because a homeless guy told him to?
I think I might surprise you with this. Oftentimes I think I'm very eager to criticize the owners and the leaders who are at the mic saying the wrong things. And when I first heard that this happened, it felt different than when I actually listened to it. It didn't feel like he was trying to separate himself from the pick in the way that it was made to seem. At least that was the view that I got. It was saying, at least from what I understand, a guy in Jimmy Haslam who has been heavily involved in the Deshaun Watson decision and heavily involved in the Manziel draft pick. It sounded like what he was saying was, I let Andrew Berry do his job. Then he said Kevin do his job, meaning Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. It sounded like what he was saying was, I'm taking my role in hiring good people to do the things that they were supposed to do. It didn't seem like he was distancing himself from them. And it's possible to read it that way, but that's not the way that I interpreted it. It seemed like he was saying he also said he didn't expect, if you would have told him Friday night that he would have ended up with Shedeur. That's the part where I think people could kind of read that as maybe he didn't want him, but I think it also could be read as he maybe thought he wouldn't be there. or it wasn't somebody they were going after. I don't know. I didn't read into it as much as I think I expected to when I first saw like the headline.
Next one, Anthony Richardson. He's finally healthy, my guy. Look! He went to see Neil Alatrash for his shoulder, and that's the guy you see when you're not playing football for a long time. So it's surprising we're in that situation where he's fully healthy. He's a full participant in Colts camp. He's competing with Daniel Jones. This is another one where we're parsing quotes from general manager Chris Ballard. We know earlier he said that he wished he had never played him his rookie season, that there had been a full redshirt season to learn. Now he's saying that we still believe that Anthony Richardson can get where he needs to go, even if he doesn't win the starting job immediately, which he's not taking off the table. He's still looking at them as his franchise quarterback. Signal or noise? Do you buy that?
It's hard for me to buy because it's so obviously the right thing to say. Maybe it's also true, but it's harder for me to believe. I know that Ballard also suggested that Irsay was the reason when he was alive that pushed them to start Richardson before maybe he was ready. I think we all knew when they drafted Anthony Richardson that he was the project of all projects, that he's not the quarterback that you should rush out there. And it doesn't help you to preemptively give up on him or increase the pressure. Like, there's no reason to say if it doesn't work out for him now, he's out, because there's a chance that benching him for the beginning of the season is a helpful thing to do. And I think that you want him to still be engaged. You don't want to lose him. So, I mean, I think that's just noise. I'm not sure that if after 2 years, because then you make the fifth-year option decision, but I guess Daniel Jones and he's evidence of, like, you can decide to not do the fifth-year option and then extend them anyway. So maybe there's the problem with the fact of the matter with Anthony Richardson is he's so talented that he's going to keep getting chances. And that's why Indy probably would want to keep him, because whether it's with you or with somebody else, there's nothing worse than having the quarterback that you thought was going to be your franchise quarterback go be that to some other team.
Well, beyond that, it's also like you're looking at that same draft and you're looking at Bryce Young. Like, the dude was on the way out of the NFL. Mm-hmm. It was over. It was completely over. Andy Dalton gets into a car accident, hurts his thumb, and his career is reignited, and he plays well down the stretch of the season. And now they're looking at him like their franchise guy. So, I mean, like, it's hard to say stranger things have happened, because Anthony Richardson has been historically inaccurate to start his career and seemed to take a huge step back last year, and his 6'5", 250-pound frame isn't durable, or hasn't been durable so far in his career. So it's hard to say that there could be that thing, but it's also impossible to write off. The next one I have, this is the last one, is we're in reruns. Chief receivers are small and having issues, but we've had so much talk this offseason. Mahomes has said the offense is going to be explosive again. They clearly tried to revamp the offensive line. The Josh Simmons stuff is the hype around it is significant now that he seems to be all the way back, and that is someone who they've now just permanently installed at left tackle. Jawan Taylor's moved to the right side of the line. Sua Matia's moved inside, and we think there's going to be more protection. Well, that is half the battle. The other problem is that Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy are already injured with ankle and concussion injuries, respectively, and Rashee Rice might be suspended for 4 to 6 weeks. We don't really know the discipline or when that will come down now, but is that just noise, and that Worthy and Hollywood Brown will probably be fine by the start of the season, or a signal that this offense that the Chiefs clearly prioritized trying to fix and make explosive again with this style of receiver, it's a signal that they're going to be stuck in the mud again?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say that it's probably a bit of both, because I think you can't pretend like the receivers don't matter, but it was obvious that the major problem with the Chiefs offense last year was inability to protect Patrick Mahomes. And I'd be much more concerned about the health of Josh Simmons and more on the other side and them being able to hold up and protect Mahomes than I would be about how healthy the receivers are or how often you can get your full complement of receivers out there. Of course that matters, but I have more confidence or more faith in Mahomes' ability to make things happen with protection no matter who's on outside than I do have faith in him making something happen with no protection with all of his receivers out there. So I think it's something to be concerned about. Having injuries this early in camp especially head injuries, because those things like can start to recur and become a much bigger problem for the player and for the team, but for the player in the long run. But I'm just more encouraged by the idea that they have a left tackle that they don't have to scheme around protecting, or at least it appears that they have a left tackle that they don't have to scheme around protecting and Mahomes can trust.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting because I believe he had the patella injury last year, and we just don't know. We have a sense now of like ACL injury. It takes this long to recover. Most guys recover from it. The patella, we just really didn't know, and it probably dropped him in the draft from being picked ahead of Will Campbell and Armin Membu to the end of the first round. So the upside of that is like, it's not just that they have it figured out talent-wise. If his base is stable and he's able to move the way he was before and have the power, like they might have like a legitimate franchise left tackle. That is in the range of possibilities for his talent and what he showed pre-injury.
Lou Riddick was comparing him to Trent Williams, and I was like, whoa.
Hey.
Whoa. Hey,
hey, Lou, calm down. Like, Trent Williams has been annihilating massive human beings for 15 years.
I mean, it got my attention. It did what it was supposed to do. It got my attention. I was like, damn, if Mahomes gets his own Trent Williams, then we're looking at hell for the rest of the AFC.
Oh, yeah, all these issues. Like, I mean, how much does that just fix a line, by the way, when you get to slide everyone down because you know you can have your left tackle just mauling anyone on the outside?
It's not just the line, it's the whole offense. Like we talked about this from the defensive perspective with Chris Long, but a little bit on the offensive side is when you have those high profile positions, like we talked about, corner, pass rusher, tackle, quarterback, receiver, when you have someone who can just tilt the way that you're game planning and you don't have to worry about them, or the other team has to compensate for them, like it just changes everyone else's job and everyone's life, and it makes it so much easier. So, yeah, if you have a left tackle that could eliminate high-end pass rushers, you don't have to chip. You don't have to put a tight end over there. You don't need an H-back or you don't have to slide the line to them, open you up to blitzes from the other side. Like it could make life so much easier.
It's so interesting. We're going to move off of this game of training camp news to more training camp news, but actually just from a larger, bigger perspective.
People love football. It's okay.
I love football. I missed it. This is one of the things I've been most excited about following in camp. And like, I think I started pestering you with these quotes like 2 weeks ago when there was like rookie mini camp starting and things like that, which is, we're going to talk about Travis Hunter. It's been really interesting the way that the Jaguars have worked him into being a two-way specialist. I guess a two-way generalist, not a specialist, in that they had days where he was working for a few days with the offense, days where he was just working on defense. And some of the quotes are just like staggering of like, Trevor Lawrence has been like, I've never seen someone conditioned like this. This dude is so good. I wish he could only play offense. And then he's like, I'm going to try and pick on him on defense so that he'll play more offense. And then he plays on the defensive side. And like, this is unbelievable. Lawrence told a story being like, we were working on 9 routes and it was like 50-yard routes, and he would run one, and normally the protocol with the receiver is that they'll go to the back of the line and he'll run it. Lawrence will throw it with the rest of the group until Hunter gets his win back. Hunter was like, nah, I'm good. I'll just keep running them. And he ran like 10 in a row. And so now people are being like, we need to study this guy. Like whatever he's doing training-wise or his conditioning, it's completely off the charts, and it's changing the expectations for many people thought was possible. And so I'll ask you, is like, he's incredibly hyped. He's one of the best college football players we have ever seen. But is it possible that with the doubt, with the amount that people have bantered about whether or not he can be a full-time two-way player, we're actually setting expectations for him too low going into his rookie season?
I mean, too low is shocking to hear you say. So I look at this story a couple of different ways. I am still in very positive, optimistic mode for Travis Hunter. We're far enough away that I think that he wants to do it. It can be done. I'm rooting for it to happen. It could be possible. But I think there are a couple of things that you have to entertain or assume to be true if this is going to work out. If he's able to be incredibly impactful on offense and defense, then I would have to believe that because of the like narrow thinking of coaching and football specifically, that there probably were a lot of other players who could have done this if they had coaches who thought about it or weren't so rigid in the way that they're thinking. That's one possibility. The other possibility,
even that, like, then we're like looking at like the people who we think could have done it athletically. It's like Champ Bailey, Sean Taylor, Randy Moss, Odell Beckham. There's like a handful.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. I'm just saying that it's like similar to how we have incredible pass rushers in the league that are freak athletes like Micah Parsons, and like it's similar. Like, yeah, there are other people. It's either I'm supposed to believe that he is one of a kind, or that it's limited by the thinking of coaches and football culture in general. And then there's like this. I guess this is part of the one of a kind thing. Is there is some ridiculous outlier effect in him that's not visible. So it's impossible us to point out. And I was thinking about this earlier, and it was like Victor Wembanyama. Like, we see him and we have no problem saying he can obviously do things that have never been done before, because we look at him and say, oh, that looks different. It's possible that Travis Hunter is that version or has that same thing, but it's something else that you can't see, that you can't tell. Because what you were talking about him running a bunch of 9 routes over and over again and not ever seeming tired, like, I don't know how many red blood cells he has or what's going on like that. Just even people who are in the best shape of their life, they're running, which I assume the athletes, most football players are in the best shape of their life. You can't run 10 sprints in a row and not be tired. It's just not normal. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I've been more and more, the more I think about it and the closer we get to it, I've been more optimistic about it actually working out. And I guess you have to define what working out means. I find it hard to believe that he's going to be great at both.
Why?
I think this is just a limitation of my thinking. It's so ridiculous. Like before, back to like Shohei. Before that happened, I would be like, nah. That's really unlikely that you'd be great at both. Like the same thing with Wemby. Like, a 7'5" guy that can handle the ball like a guard and shoot from outside. Meh. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
I just remember the Ohtani stuff, though, how quickly it flipped, though, because I remember going into that, people thought that the same way. And then during his rookie year, I remember talking to people who worked in professional baseball and played professional baseball, and they're like, no, he's the best player of all time. Like, literally, as a rookie, they're like, no, he's the best player ever.
But the Ohtani stuff is so much easier to understand. Like, I get how the switch flipped as soon as we saw him do it. I think there's something to be said, not to say that it's not taxing physically, but it's certainly taxing in a different way and on different body parts. And baseball is not quite the same, like, physical exertion as a football game. Like playing corner and receiver, you're kind of going to be using the same muscles over and over again. It's not like I can throw really hard or pitch really hard one day, then I get 5 days off where I'm just batting. It's very different.
Yeah, I mean, the baseball thing, first of all, he's gotten Tommy John twice. It is taxing him. Like, let's be very clear. It is taxing him, and it's just so much more targeted. Like, pitching might be the hardest thing on a joint of any sport. Obviously, there are impact injuries in football. That's not what I mean. But just mean like the repetitive motion of it is pretty destructive to your elbow and shoulder. But it's just targeted to there. That's not affecting the rest of his body as much as the other stuff. And also, to your point about like Ohtani, and is like how easy it is to see, like he's 6'5", 230 and runs like he is Josh Allen sized and faster and more dexterous. And we just forget that because he's playing baseball. But to me, you said like it's hard to see the Travis Hunter stuff. I sent you a clip the other night, and I promise I'll land the plane on this, of 2008 to 2010 LeBron. Oh, yeah. And it was like, the reason I'm sending it is because we are now 17 years after those early clips. And there's no one in the NBA who is close to as athletic as young Bron. Like, close. And he was 6'8", and he was moving like as fast as John Morant and as powerfully as Giannis and jumping like Anthony Edwards. And the whole package, it was like, it jumps off the screen. I actually think that when you watch some of the highlights of Travis Hunter with the body control and doing those like ridiculous gainer celebrations and like ripping the ball from people, like athletically, he is such a standout. Like I think I will be shocked if he's on an NFL field, period, this season, and he's on the field with someone as athletic as him. I think he's the best athlete in the league day one.
Yeah, agreed. But there's more to it than that.
Of course. Obviously. I'm just saying, like, the tools are rare. They jump off the screen in the way that, like, even if it's not the height and burliness of other guys, like, he's so bendy and unique.
Are you just being, like, I agree. Like, I can't disagree with you, but there are lots of really incredible athletes in football. And maybe this is just, it's hard for me to see. And I see the highlights that Travis Hunter has, and I love him, and he's great, and I think it's incredible. But, like, the best athlete on the field every single time, every snap. Game, that is so tough, man. That is so, like, you make it seem like occasionally we get guys, and I'll point it out when someone has a play that looks like a high school play because they make everyone else look, but they do it every now and then. You talk about all the time.
No. I'm not saying he's gonna be the best player. I just meant like physical tools capable of doing a million things. I think he walks into the league and it's like, this is a one-of-one athlete.
Yeah. So you think you're a big Cam Ward guy too, I guess.
Love Cam Ward.
Yeah, so I guess I was rethinking the draft at this point. If you believe this to be true about Travis Hunter, do we get to a place where you're like, hey, should have gone number 1 overall?
I'm glad you asked that because if he plays both ways and he's really good both ways, I do wonder, like, okay, let me put it this way. If he is, we just talked about Terry McLaurin. Say he's a Terry McLaurin level receiver, and I mean now this is higher on the defensive side, so I don't know the Terry McLaurin equivalent of DVs. But like, let's say he's Derek Stingley and Terry McLaurin.
Woo!
Is that as valuable as a quarterback? Dead serious.
It's as valuable as some quarterbacks. It's not as valuable as a guy. Like, you could just do the thought exercise. Would you trade Jaden Daniels for Terry McLaurin and Derek Stingley?
I wouldn't trade Jaden Daniels for anything.
There you go. So, case in point, if I combined Randy Moss with
Champ?
Let's go. No, I was gonna go with the current guy with Surtain, or we go Champ. Moss with Champ. You were like, nah, Jaden, I'm good.
We're getting real close.
I feel like Randy Moss will make just about any quarterback you have.
It's also Randy Moss makes you a first team All Pro. You like Randall Cunningham and Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
It was so funny seeing Randy Moss play with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's numbers were like, is he a game manager? And it's like, no, dude, he's gonna throw 50 binks a season.
50 what? Did you say binks?
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I don't know these ones, man. This is a new one.
It's a home run term. I just figured it's a home run ball to Randy Moss.
Yeah, all right. I like it. What was the other? Oh no, you forgot Curtis's, right? Did you?
Oh yeah. That's a 50 piece.
Put up a Curtis. You're such a
the backstory on that is I just heard an old man yelling that when Steph Curry scored 51 in DC.
I remember it. I loved it. I liked it. I want to keep it alive. What was he yelling? Give him a Curtis? Or?
Yeah, he had like 48 points and he was like, one more for a Curtis. No, I mean, like, well, yeah. I guess in theory, if it was like someone who, if Hunter was that good on both sides of the ball, that's even testing what I believe of it is. Like, if you could be Randy Moss and Patrick Surtain, then like, honestly, you are as valuable as a quarterback. That's just like, you're taking 2 of the 22 All-Pro spots at that point.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're as valuable as a quarterback, not as. I guess you and I would probably agree that if we had, what was Randy Moss got? it was Cunningham close and Culpepper close to MVPs, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know who won the MVP that year, but you could make an easy argument that Randy Moss deserved the MVP. How well would Travis Hunter have to play at any point in his career on both sides of the ball? Because now we're at a situation where the game is so tilted to the quarterbacks that it's almost impossible to argue if a quarterback has a good year. It's almost impossible to argue that there's someone out there more valuable. How good a season would he have to have? Or is he about to just get Trevor Lawrence an MVP? Is that what's going to happen?
That's the answer. Where it's like, first of all, it's not just Travis Hunter. It's Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. If they can figure out how to protect and Trevor Lawrence is healthy and Liam Cohen's offense, like, yeah, the storyline will probably be like, we were right the whole time. It was a bad situation. Trevor Lawrence is this guy. And then all the tape bros will be like, you should have seen the way he was processing before. I never gave up his third read where he dumped it down to Christian Kirk. I knew the whole time. But
you hate the tape bros so much.
Yeah. I mean, we're an accountability podcast. And the tape bros just use tape to never hold themselves accountable.
That's not true. Some tape pros are, I qualify, and I feel like I can put my foot into analytics world, into tape pro world, and former athlete world, and I'm more than willing to step out there and be like, nah, I was wrong. The tape shows that I was dead wrong.
You put your foot in all those worlds, but you've also put your hand in the dirt.
Oh God, I'm proud of you for that one. I actually like that one. I actually like the wordplay. That was impressive for you. I wanted to hate it because I hate most other things, but that was actually smart. I liked it.
That's for you, Dan.
I have more Travis Hunter thoughts, man. I forgot we were talking about whether what it would take for him to be an MVP, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance that he could win an MVP?
Not this year. That'd be crazy.
I know, not this year. I just mean over the course of his career. Do you think that?
Yes, I do. I think he's the person who could break the quarterback streak. Like, we just saw Saquon go for 2,000 yards and they didn't give it to him. We've seen Derrick Henry go for 2,000 yards. To me, it's like, you said someone needs to do something historic to do it. This is the thing. Yeah. This is the thing. Like, if he's an all-pro caliber player on both sides of the ball, and like, to me,
Saquon could have won it. Saquon could have won it if it wasn't for the fact that we had multiple quarterbacks leave Earth all last season.
Yeah, and McCaffrey could have won it the year before, and Derrick Henry certainly could have won it the year. I don't remember who won it the year he ran for 2,000 yards. We're going to probably look back, and it's going to be like Tom Brady or Mahomes, and we're like, idiot. Of course he shouldn't have won it. But like, they made it to the AFC Conference Championship game just by like handing that big fella the rock. Yeah. But to me, this is like, the thing about Travis Hunter is there are going to be graphics when it's going to be like first player to play this many snaps in a game and have this high of a grade on both sides of the ball. And we're going to like the comps are going to be like leather helmet players. It's going to be, but it's going to be like Jim Thorpe and then like Humphrey Smith from the Cleveland Barnstormers in 1912 played cornerback and wideback. It's going to be some ridiculous name or like
Bulldog. What happened to that guy Bulldog?
Yeah, or like, do you remember Lou the Togue Rosa? Where it's like he was a kicker and a tackle. Like we're gonna get into that space with him, where the comps are literally going to be people before they invented the forward pass.
Is there? I mean, I think the next big question around the Travis Hunter thing that I've been answering for a while, but I feel like it's a waste of time having that conversation here because we both are at the same place, is like, should he try to do it, or is it diminishing the ability or his chances to be a great player? I think we both agree that he wants to do it. He seems capable of doing it. The team seems locked in on it. Like, I want it to happen. I hate the fact that we can't make some sort of salary dispensation for him. Like, he reaches a certain number of snaps on both sides of the ball, and we got to give him 2 rookie deals. Like, I think that's what should happen. And when he becomes a free agent, that we should give him outside the cap. Like, we should create a soft cap exemption for two-way athletes, or for both sides of the ball athletes like Travis Hunter.
100%. And by the way, one of the funniest things about this story is if he's not good, like they're gonna go back and be like, you idiots, this is the guy who thought Anthony Richardson was gonna be so good. I don't care. I'm happy. I do not care. I want to be excited. Also, but with that said, is there any prospect who there's going to be more second guessing about? Like if he pulls his hamstring in a preseason game and misses like 4 weeks, or there's something that stalls his development, because you've been on the case that he's going to be one of the harder development prospects that we've had in a long time because the stakes of him playing two ways and not being in meeting rooms all the time. Like, is there a world where, I mean, obviously there's a world where it doesn't go well, but is he going to be?
There's no way that I get your point. Like, there's no way that it's going to be honestly discussed. People get injured. And it's fair to, I guess it's not even saying that it's not honest, because it's fair to say that, like, him playing more snaps is going to increase his risk of injury. Like, it's just an honest thing. So no matter what happens, he's absolutely going to get hurt at some point in his career because it's football and that's what happens. Whether people decide that it's only a result of him playing both ways or not is, and it scares the Jags off of continue to do this. But I'd rather look at the world after he does it and does it well, because where I started this conversation was one of the possibilities that we haven't even explored. We're talking about this as if we're accepting that he is the unicorn that we all think he is. Whether he is or isn't, if he succeeds at this, other teams are going to try to do it. And other players are going to try to do it in a way like it. We always talk about this football as if, I think I bring it up to you often, how it's a closed ecosystem and it's like not as much innovation as you would want in pro football because there's really no incentive to innovate. If you suck really bad, your franchise value still goes up and you end up making the playoffs a few years from now anyway, because the NFL is so random. If we had some sort of college style system or European system where there's relegation, teams would try more interesting things. There'd be more incentive to try riskier things. And when someone breaks in and does something different, it then immediately gets copied. So I want to live in the world where he does this successfully, and then all the rest of the teams are looking to find their Travis Hunter that's already on their roster, or draft someone who they think they can turn into Travis Hunter and do something like that.
It's like we're going to have a world where like DJ Lagway is also playing edge rusher because he's 6'4", 240. It's like, you know what's more valuable than a quarterback? A quarterback that hits other quarterbacks.
I like that as a plan. But, I mean, it is funny if you think about
it's the worst plan ever. Just like destroy his shoulders.
I like that as a plan as far as getting more out of the players who don't necessarily work out. Like the idea, was it Troy Brown, right? Yeah. Receiver who was like a pretty good slot receiver, but then all of a sudden he's playing nickelback too. Like, it is still football. Like, all these guys know how to play football.
Do you think there's a world where this changes the way that people train? Where it's like, you know, football is a sport where there's specialists within the generalist world of football, where like it's hard to imagine training in both positions, and like this is where there's an Ohtani and another Ohtani Hunter comparison. Like both of them have been incredibly forthright about their desire to play multiple things and how it's benefited them. Even someone like Jameis Winston said that he was a better athlete when he was also playing baseball. He's like, like my throwing mechanics were better. I was more accurate. I was more on time because of doing different things and like playing different sports. Do you think there's a world where longer in their football development, you see guys playing multiple positions rather than specialized because there's a benefit for them athletically?
I hope so. I don't see that happening because we have this view of how the time is so precious and we have to keep working on exactly what it is that we're doing to get better. I find that the more I read things that have nothing to do with my work, the better I am at my work. And it's like counterintuitive, but there's obviously a certain like base level of competence that you have to get to before you can start like cross training and believing that maybe playing receiver in practice one day will help you be a cornerback. But I absolutely think that's the case. And we waste so much time as football players because I'm sure anybody who's around football is probably aware of this, but if you're not, your first day in rookie minicamp, once you get drafted, we install the coverages or install the basics of the offense. Then you come back for the entire team minicamp and we start back at square one, reinstalling that. Then you come back for training camp. And on day one, we start back at day one. And then you go through the season and come back for the next camp. And you start back reinstalling the day one stuff, which it's kind of an insane way to do things. Like I would imagine that there would be some more value if the defensive backs went and learned the offensive installation. Like, or just understand, because we do a lot of study, and you notice how no player is better at predicting offensive plays than a former quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I think no receiver is better at recognizing the setups and routes in the way that receivers, because it took me a long time to be able to understand the tempo of routes. It took me a long time to be able to predict the splits based on everything else in the formation, what it was going to be able to set up. Like those things, because we don't never really study it from the side of knowing it, because there's so much competition within the team. I imagine that those things would change. I know, having played a little bit of safety, it helped me understand when I was in cover 2, how important a reroute is. And no one really talks about this. Oftentimes you see safeties get 2 players up on them. As the cornerback, you're supposed to like stay right at 4 or 5 yards and reroute the outside receiver to make sure that they can't get too much pressure on your safety too quickly. When I was back there and the corner didn't get no reroute, it changed the way that when I went up and played corner, it changed the way that I played corner. It was like just an understanding of everything in the system, and a full understanding of everything that's going on would change the way that you play defense.
So that's incredibly interesting too, because when you take that to Travis Hunter specifically, a lot of the stuff was it just being like how complicated NFL football was, and the fact that we thought maybe he just moonlighted as a receiver, because you can't really moonlight as a DB where you don't know the entire defense, and on offense, like he's going to listen to that long play call, but just really for his route, his responsibility, and that type of thing. So are you saying that it actually might be opposite? He might actually, his capacity to learn this stuff might be higher and bigger because he's been playing both sides of the ball and understanding multiple positions for a really extended period of time?
I think that's what I'm saying. Do you think that you've become a better producer since you've been a co-host?
Definitely. If it's not interesting for me to talk about, why would it be interesting for me to tell you to talk about?
Way to go. So cross-training. Everyone should cross-train. Let's run all of everybody on the team through one episode where they have to be me, and one episode they have to be you. We got to go do the camera and audio, and we all get better. How you feel about that?
I love that. I think that will show that I am highly replaceable and you're not.
I like that. Let's end on that. A nice positive thing about me. All right, go get some sleep. Thank you to all the great producers, and we out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.